Hello everyone, this is the introduction tutorial of Etabs. So from today we are going to see the tutorials in Etabs. So if you don't have Etabs software, then I have uploaded a video on how to install Etabs. So after opening Etabs, if you want to model any of structure, first you need to go to File, click on File, click on New Model, then you will be shown with a dialog box. Now you have to choose any one of the options. So use saved user default settings. So these settings are previously stored in Etabs. So the second option, use settings from a model file, you can only use this after using some settings by the third option, as it's an introduction class. So let's go to the third option. Now here you need to choose the system, that is you need to work in metric system, and depending upon your country, select the country and select the steel and concrete design code. Now click on OK. So this is the data you need to mention before you enter into the modeling system in Etabs. So let's keep the data as same. So these are the X line grid lines and Y grid lines and the spacing between them. You can also use the custom grid spacing, which we will discuss in later classes. Now these are the number of stories, typical story height and bottom story height. Typical story height is the story height after the bottom story. First, for instance, if you keep a bottom story height of 5 meters, that is for the ground floor plus the plinth level, you can keep it as 5 meters, and the rest of the stories you can maintain it as. In the today's class we will discuss how to create the elements, how to create the sectional properties, how to assign them, and how to use the elements in Etabs. Click OK. So here you can see that 4 grid lines formed in X direction and 4 in Y direction. Spacing between each of them is 8 meters, and this is the number of stories that are 3, 1, 2 and 3 stories. Now we need to draw. These are the columns used for drawing beams, quick drawing beams, drawing columns, quick draw columns and everything. Now you can't use this unless you mention the properties. So click on define. First you need to define the material properties, then you need to define the section properties. So click on define material properties. So we do not use these properties, we use M20 concrete and Fe415, 500 or this kind of steel. So add new material. So select the code India, material type, let's first add concrete, standard is Indian, and let's give a grade of M25. Click OK. So you can see that it automatically takes up properties of M25 concrete. This is the display color. If you want to change, you can change it. Let's give this color. Okay. These are the modulus of elasticity, Poisson's ratio and other properties. So click on OK. Now we need to add the rebar property, that is the steel. So click India. Here you need to take rebar, not steel. Steel is used for the trusses and all. And here you can see HOSG 415, 500, 250, 450. 550. So we normally go with 415. Click on 415, click OK, and the unit weight is automatically considered, and the modulus of elasticity, that is 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square MPa. So click OK, and here every time in Etabs you need to click OK to get out of this dialog box, otherwise the settings won't be saved. So after defining the material properties, you need to define the section properties. Click on define section properties, frame sections. Now you need to delete these properties. So delete multiple properties. Okay. Now add new property. So let's add a concrete section. So let's add a beam property of 300 mm by 300 mm. So here you need to select the material is M25, and you can also change the color if you want to. Section shape is concrete rectangular and source is user defined. Depth we have given as 300, and the width also we have given as 300. Now here you just can't go to OK, you need to click on modify show rebar, that is for reinforcement. So here you need to select the beam, because if you select the column, then that becomes a column property, not a beam property. whereas in staad pro you need not to mention whether it's a beam property or a column property. You can simply assign it. So here you need to mention it's a beam property, and the cover to top bars and bottom bars is normally 25 mm, and the longitudinal bars which we use is HYSG 415, which we have already mentioned. So click on OK, click on OK. Now let's add a column property. So click on add new property, click on rectangular section. So let's give a column size of 300 by 300 mm. The material is M25. So here you need to always mention the size of the column 300. Click on modify show rebar. Here you need to select the column. Now here you can also mention the column rectangular or circular. Now if you use circular column, then only you can use both spiral and ties, rectangular ties. So let's go with rectangular. Now clear cover to confinement is 40 mm, and these are all the properties which we know. And here you need to change the property, that is the section material property of the longitudinal and confinement bars. So click on OK, OK, click OK. Now you need to also assign the slab properties. So go to define, go to section properties, go to slab sections. Now add new property. Let's provide a slab of 120 mm thick. So the slab material is M25, and there are 4 types of slabs in Etabs. So here the shell thin is most commonly used because the shell thin accommodates in plane shear and the transverse shear, whereas the shell thick accommodates only the bending and not the in plane shear. Membrane is normally used for the steel structures like trusses, and layered is used when we use different layers in a single slab element. These are the 4 types of slabs which we use. So click on shell thin. Here type of the slab, we have many types of slab like slab, drop slab, ribbed slab, waffle slab. So normal slab we need to keep as slab, and the thickness of the slab. The thickness of the slab we mention is 120 mm. So click on OK. In slab you will not be shown the reinforcement and the cover to the reinforcement. This is because in Etabs we don't have the design of the slabs. Click on OK. Now we can use these elements to draw the slab. So this is the draw beam / column. So when we click this element, we can draw the beams. Here you need to select the property which we have mentioned, that is beams 300 by 300. So starting from this point to this point. Now if you want to come out of this command, simply right click, you'll be coming out. Now here you can see a beam has been drawn at this point. Now this command is quick draw beams and columns. Now this can be used by just simply clicking the grid line, a beam which shall be formed in this manner. Now this command is quick draw columns. Here quick draw columns, you need to again select the property, that is column 300 by 300. Now you can simply draw the columns by placing it on the edge points. Here you can see the column has been drawn to the top story. Now with the help of the same command, that is quick draw columns, change the property to C300 by 300. You can also draw complete columns to the intersection points. That is, if you select array, here you can see that at all the intersection points the columns have been drawn. This is quick draw secondary beams. So quick draw secondary beams, so select the property B300 by 300. Now the moment release is normally pinned. You won't be giving fixed supports as there won't be any columns at that point, and the number of beams in the grid places. So if I choose number of beams as 2, if I enter any of the grid, you can see that 2 secondary beams will be formed. If I change it to parallel to X, here you can see parallel to X the beams can be drawn. So this is how the secondary beams are drawn. So let's go to drawing slabs. So this command is used for drawing floor or slabs. Here you need to give all the points that is, you need to form a closed loop to form a slab. So this is the third point and this is the first point. Here you can see a slab has been formed. Next one, here this command is used for drawing of the slabs from one point to another point, and you need to press the left key so that the slab can be drawn. Now this is quick draw slab, that is floor or wall. So by simply moving your cursor to the grid points, you can draw the slabs. Here if you click, you have one story, all stories and similar stories. If you use all stories and draw a slab, so let's select quick draw slab and select slab 120 which we have given. If you draw a slab, now using all stories, if you draw a slab, you can see that this slab has also been formed at the foundation level. Now we do not want the slab to be formed at the foundation level, so what do we do is we set it to similar stories. So when we use similar stories, the slab is not formed at the foundation level. Here you can see the slab has not been formed in the foundation level. This is how to use all the elements in Etabs. So by using the similar story command, I can also draw the columns. Go to quick draw columns. If I draw a column and this point, you can see column has formed from the top level to the bottom level. So to come out of this command, you need to just go to normal cursor. Now if you want to wave any of the corresponding angle, you have the plan view, that is from story 4, story 3. You can also wave. If you go to story 3, you can see that these plans are not present. So go to story 3, click on apply, click on OK. This is the story 3. You can also move from one story to another story with the help of these arrows. So here you can see Z is equal to 0 plan view, story 1, story 2, story 3. And if you want to view the elevation, click on elevation and select whichever elevation you want. So if you select the first elevation, you can view this part and the front view. If you similarly the second for this part of the front view, and third is this part, and the A and B and C are these parts of the elevation view. So close this. So this is it with the introduction class. Let us save this file, Ctrl S. Let's give a name of the file. Now if you want to use the user defined settings, that is the second one which I have shown you, click on new model, use settings from a model file. You can use this now. So click on OK. Now click on intro. Now the settings that we have created, that is the section properties and the material properties, are predefined. You need not define it once again. So click on define, click on section properties, click on frame sections. You can already see that a property of B300 by 300 and C300 by 300 is formed because we have used the settings, not the model, just the settings. Okay, here you can also see the material properties. Click on define, click on material properties. Here you can see M25 concrete and HY SD415 which we have already created. Now these settings can be used in this manner. So this is it with the introduction class. In the next video, I'll show you how to analyze a portal frame in Etabs. So do subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified. Thank you.